afternoon, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Let's Talk on WIN TV. I'm your host, Denise Rolark Barnes, publisher of the Washington Informer newspaper. Well, May has been a whirlwind of events and crucial deadlines. One being the Real ID. If you didn't meet the deadline, it would only make it a little harder for you to enter federal facilities and travel, but know that you can still get it. So there was a deadline, but you want to make sure that you still proceed and get that Real ID. It's going to be important as time goes on, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Today is Friday. Yesterday, I guess that's Thursday, was that the 29th? Yes, Mayor Muriel Bowser raised the third annual LGBTQIA+ flag. She raised a flag representing the LGBTQIA+ community to celebrate Pride in the district. And so the district is hosting the World Pride 2025 event this year, which represents 50 years of Pride celebrations. And it was an international competition for World Pride, and the District of Columbia actually was successful. And so you're going to see rainbow flags and rainbows and concerts and events all across the city. So we welcome folks from around the world who are with us this weekend, and we hope that they have a safe and enjoyable weekend. And, if you want to get out and share, this is not just a them and a us, it's an everybody kind of event. So we hope that you will get out and celebrate. The historic year of the 100th annual Scripps National Spelling Bee was held this weekend at the National Harbor at the Gaylord Hotel. And we are so proud of our Washington and former spellers representing Maryland and DC. In Maryland, in DC, that's Zwei Spacetime. That was Zwei, who was eliminated in the 10th round on the word. Now, I don't even know if I can pronounce it correctly, but I think it's Cosilana or Cosiana. It's the dry bark of a South American tree used as an expectorant in cough syrup. Cosiana, Cocillana. That was Zwei's word. He made it through the 10 rounds and got to that word, and that's when he was eliminated. But he's an excellent speller. Zay's sister was Zale Avant-Garde, who was the first Black American champion, winning the 2021 Scripps National Spelling Bee. And so we're excited for him, as well as our speller from Prince George's County, representing Prince George's County in Maryland, Abigail Adigbite, who lost in the preliminary round, but they are some wonderful, wonderful spellers. We're happy to be able to be the sponsor of both the DC and Prince George's County Spelling Bees. And we are very, very excited for our young spellers. One day we're going to end up with that national champion. And since both of them, I think Zwei is in the 7th grade, going to the 8th. The 8th grade is the cutoff for participating in the National Spelling Bee. So Zwei, we hope will come back again next year. He is homeschooled, and I can't remember what school Abigail goes to, but she's in Prince George's County, and they're very, very talented young folks, multi-talented, and we hope to see them again next year. So in our first segment of Let's Talk, we're excited to welcome Chinyere Hubbard. She's president and CEO of the DC Chamber of Commerce, new at the chamber, so she's coming in with a lot of ideas and plans, and we're going to hear about all of those as we discuss, again, opportunities and resources available to support small businesses here at the DC Chamber. So we're looking forward to having that conversation, as well as a talk with Dr. Darrell Thornton. He's the director of Upward Bound Trio at the George Washington University. And I know for many years we've heard a lot about Upward Bound, and lately, I don't know if folks really know that Upward Bound is still a fantastic program, specifically designed for high school students from low-income families and for those who are first-generation college students. So Dr. Thornton is going to tell us more about the program and how it's transforming lives and opening doors to higher education. And our third segment, we welcome Desmond Barnes and Darrell Simpson. They're co-founders of Heart of the City Candles. And they hosted, I think, a fantastic and thrilling boxing event this weekend at the now closed AutoZone on 8th Street, which became the best venue for this event. So I look forward to talking to them and how they are planning to use this type of an event to bring more young people into the city to be involved in positive activities, to strengthen bonds, to showcase their talent. It's going to be, I think, a great conversation and a great move forward for the things that the city needs to help engage our young people a lot more. And finally, we're going to talk to Charlton Singletary, the Grammy Award-winning frontman of the Gullah Roots Gospel, Jazz, Funk, R&B musical group, Ranky Tanky. He's a speaker, clinician, composer, and arranger. And he's also shared the stage with quite a few other talented entertainers from around the world. And we're going to talk about an event that he's involved with this weekend, honoring Rosa Parks over at the the museum, O Street Gallery. O Street. So yeah, we look forward to talking to him, and maybe you can add that on your calendar of things to do this weekend. So before we start today's discussion, I want to remind you to pick up a copy of this week's issue of the Washington Informer. You know, I always like to show the paper. We've produced another paper. We're still printing a newspaper. And so I hope that you will, while you're out, to pick up a copy. We've got some great stories in there. And one that seems to be doing really well online, actually, is the story about the closing of the Wonder Plaza on Georgia Avenue. A lot of small businesses are located there, and they will have to close. So folks are concerned about what's happening in our community and our small businesses, which is why we have the president of the DC Chamber on today, because that's some of the issues that she's dealing with. So I want to remind you to pick up a copy of this week's Informer. As well, you can become a subscriber to receive our publication directly in your inbox, along with our daily news updates. If you go to our website, there's a place where you can sign up and get that subscription, which is free, right into your inbox. So we want to hope and ask that you will become a subscriber in print and or online. And while you're watching today's show, don't keep it to yourself. We hope that you will spread the word by sharing this broadcast on your local social media channels and connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, Nextdoor, LinkedIn, and YouTube. I don't know if I've missed anything, but there may be some others. And if you're there and we're not there, tell us that you want us there so we can make sure that you can find us wherever you are. And last but not least, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Washington Informer TV. You see no spaces, just Washington Informer TV, where you can catch up on any Let's Talk episodes you might have missed. Our goal is to get up to 3,000 hours of watch time of Let's Talk videos on YouTube. Looks like we've added or added 2 more. I don't know. We have only 757 more hours to go. I think last week we were like 770 or something. I don't know. I might be doing it backwards. But anyway, we hope that you will, watch our shows, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and enjoy and share this content with others, because we have some great guests who bring some really important information to the community. And we want to make sure that everybody gets an opportunity to learn what DC has, what I call the DMV, has to offer to everybody. So before we bring on our first guest, let's watch our weekly news broadcast by Curtis Knowles.
This is Win TV News, bringing you the news that matters. A black bear has been reported to be roaming around Prince George's County. This bear is likely the same one that was spotted in both Beltsville and Laurel over the course of the Memorial Day weekend. Paul Bedito, the Assistant Secretary of Land Resources with the Maryland Department of Natural Resources, said the young bear that showed up in the backyard on Tohono Avenue was likely a young male looking for new territory. Initially, the bear was about 55 feet up in a tree, too high for the DNR teams to try to get him down without injuring him. However, the staff at the Department of Natural Resources were able to eventually get the bear down easy with the help of a dart gun loaded with sedative. The bear has been collared for location purposes and will be relocated to Western Maryland. A federal trade court on Wednesday blocked President Trump from imposing sweeping tariffs on imports under an emergency powers law, swiftly throwing it to doubt Trump's signature set of economic policies. The ruling from a 3-judge panel at the New York-based Court of International Trade came after several lawsuits arguing Trump had exceeded his authority and left the U.S. Trade Policy Department on his whims. Trump has repeatedly said the tariffs would force manufacturers to bring back factory jobs to the U.S. and generate enough revenue to reduce federal budget deficits. He used the tariffs as a negotiating cudgel in hopes of forcing other nations to negotiate agreements that favored the U.S., suggesting he would simply set the rates himself if the terms were unsatisfactory. The Maryland State Board of Elections has been sued by 5 politically unaffiliated voters who say using taxpayer money to fund primary elections in which they can't vote is unconstitutional. In Maryland, the Democratic and Republican primary elections are partially closed, meaning unaffiliated Green Party and Libertarian voters can only participate in primary elections with permission from the respective party. The suit said nearly 1/4 of voters in Maryland, approximately 950,000 people, are registered as unaffiliated. This number is up dramatically from 16% in 2012, which is commensurate with national trends. The plaintiffs are represented by Boyd Rutherford, who spent 2 terms as former Governor Larry Hogan's lieutenant governor.
Thank you, Curtis. I always love those updates on the news. And now we're going to jump to our guest. My first guest, who I'm really excited to speak with, is Chinyere Hubbard, President and CEO of the DC Chamber of Commerce. Chinyere, welcome to Let's Talk.
Welcome. Thank you for having me, Denise. So excited to be on your show.
Well, one of the things that I know about you is that you run to the fire every time. I find you in places where you're taking on a tremendous load and you do your thing, and then next thing you're running to another fire. So now you're with the DC Chamber. Let's talk a little bit about your journey there, though. I know you're a native Washingtonian, correct?
That's right. I am a native Washingtonian, a DC public school, high school graduate from Northwest Washington, DC, and then lived in other cities, but came back about 17 years ago. And I've always been committed to efforts that uplift our city and preserve and protect our small businesses. I come from a family of small businesses. And I've spent the last 25 years of my career focused on building bridges across public, private, and nonprofit sectors. And as you know, in my former roles at Events DC, leading community engagement, communications, marketing, economic development, and then the Greater Washington Partnership, I focused on how we can create positive change for businesses of all sizes, champion inclusive prosperity, and offer solutions so we can remain economically competitive. So this was really a great next step for me. And I'm excited to leverage my insights here at the DC Chamber.
The Chamber has a long history in the District of Columbia. And while I don't think all small businesses or all businesses are members of the Chamber, it has a huge membership. And so, but what is the Chamber's role? What is its responsibility or its goal? I know I've asked like 3 different questions, but what is the role of the Chamber, the DC Chamber in the district?
Sure. The role of the Chamber is to be the leading voice and advocate for the DC business community. We are the largest chamber in this city. We're the only chamber in this city. And we want to be not just a convener, but also a catalyst for growth and innovation across all 8 wards, especially during a pivotal time is what we're experiencing right now in our city. And my goal as president and CEO of the Chamber is to expand our reach, increase our influence, and provide vital resources and advocacy for our DC businesses and businesses who want to call DC home. And for me, there is no greater legacy that I want to continue to ensure that a city that shaped me is vibrant and thriving, and our businesses are stable, healthy, and moving forward. So at the Chamber, we're focused on advocacy. We're focused on creating meaningful connections with businesses, intentional convenings and partnerships and networking. And we have a lot of events. So anybody who's interested in joining the Chamber can go to our website, dcchamber.org.
Since the pandemic, we all know that was a very challenging time for business in this city. And with so many businesses having to close and people working remotely and all kinds of things impacted locally based businesses, right? So I'm wondering, how have we come out of that, or how is the Chamber really working to, and we're still in the midst of this craziness, right? Because of, we won't mention people's names, but it's still a very challenging time right now for businesses. So can you talk about some initiatives that the Chamber has put in place to really support local businesses?
Sure. Yes. And Denise, as you mentioned, it has been a challenging 5 years for us since the pandemic, but we are one city who is resilient. We have excellent leadership in our Mayor Bowser, and our DC Council. And at the Chamber, our objective is to ensure that the local small businesses who have been experiencing challenges, particularly now, but even since the pandemic, get the support and resources that they need. Anyone who wants to be an entrepreneur having challenges with their current workforce or where they've been employed and have been laid off. We want to ensure that they have resources that can support their ventures in solopreneurship. That we know that in our economy, when there's advancement in every corner of the city, especially in historically underserved neighborhoods, that we continue to thrive. And our goal is to work with partners. We want to create a network of community-based incubators in emerging communities, so entrepreneurs and others have access to resources at libraries, at faith-based organizations, community centers. So we really want to make sure we're meeting businesses where they are. We're listening to their needs in every community and working with partners to co-create pathways that we can facilitate sustainable business growth for everyone.
What do you think, what is the Chamber sort of focusing on that seems to be one of the biggest challenges today, for small businesses? I know I'm going back in history, but I know once upon a time when as our downtown and H Street and Georgia Avenue quarters were redeveloping, a lot of Black-owned businesses lost, I'll call housing, because, they rented properties. They didn't own the properties. And that's a challenge too. If you don't own the business own the property that you're in, you can be evicted at any time. But that seemed to be a conversation that was happening then. Right now, what do you think the biggest challenge is, particularly for small businesses in DC, that the Chamber is focused on, not just generally speaking, but that you all are focused on?
Yeah, that the Chamber's focused. Yeah, and what we've heard from our members is access to capital. That's a big issue for them, and making sure that they have the tools and resources to survive. Many of them aren't able, and they're not in a position to have a brick and mortar in downtown. So ensure that we can prioritize inclusivity, innovation, and intentional investment in these small businesses. We really want to make sure they have tools, resources, and capital. And so we want to connect them with our local DC government agencies. We work with the Department of Security's DSB. We work with DSLBD. We just had a very successful small business summit that provided resources and information to small businesses who have been suffering over the last couple of years. And many of them just didn't have the tools or education. They didn't know what resources were out there. And our summit, and it's something that we do every year, provided those resources, and we continue to do that throughout the year. So whether it's access to capital, advocating for policies that are favorable for business owners, so to make it easier for them to get a license and to cut through the red tape, because that's always a challenge for them. We really want to make sure we're reducing barriers so that it's easy to start your business and maintain your business in DC.
Wow. For a small business owner like myself, I don't think you've missed any points that I think small businesses would be interested in getting support from the chamber for. And also, I guess, the whole diversity issue. There's this national thing, as you know, some person said we're going to get rid of DEI. How does that impact what the chamber does and its ways of connecting your members?
Yeah, the DC Chamber really upholds values that ensure a wide range of perspectives. We want to provide, again, as I've said, business resources to create these pathways for diverse and equitable opportunities that works to foster a sense of belonging that's mutually beneficial in this economic ecosystem. And while there are threats to our, DEI initiatives, we want to make sure that businesses are still able to feel empowered and that our membership base remains diverse from all 8 wards. So we think that this will bring a fresh, unique perspective for all that we do and how we approach, including the speakers we attract, the entrepreneurs, the seminars, our events. And, I'm continuing on my listening tour with members. I'm in my first 100 days. And so I'm open to making sure that we are providing value from our members on all levels and that we continue to promote equity and inclusion for everyone.
I meant to mention that at the top that you are new on the job, 100 days, but not new to the organization. So that's a good thing. And especially, like you said, not new to the growing DC in various ways. And I know that this week you had an event for women entrepreneurs. What's coming up with the chamber? Any activities or events that our viewers need to participate in?
Well, we have some member only activities happening next week. And so anyone who's interested, where we're going to be meeting with city council members on issues that impact our small and large businesses here in DC. So if anyone's interested, they should join the chamber and get involved. We have, and as you mentioned, Denise, we had our women's luncheon yesterday with a dynamic speaker who is a native Washingtonian, Tiffany Norwood, a tech entrepreneur. She has created about 8 startups, and she was extremely inspirational and gave us a lot of nuggets and gems for people who want to start a business or even maintain their business and scale their business. And so that was a sold out event. Those happen every year. Also upcoming, we have a golf tournament. So any golfers out there and want to do business on the greens, you are welcome to join us. And then later in the fall, we will have our State of the District, where we will be speaking with city leadership, our mayor, about where we are from an economic development perspective, how we are continuing to focus on downtown revitalization. And then we have our annual gala, which is a hot ticket that is sought after. So that is a Chamber Awards Gala, and it is going to be chaired by former council member Brandon Todd. And so if you're interested in tickets, they are on sale. So we encourage everyone to go to our website and find out how to get a ticket, because that also sells out quickly.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. Well, Chinyere, Hubbard, I'm so happy to have you with us today. And for full disclosure, we have to let folks know that the Washington Informer is a proud partner
Absolutely.
with the DC Chamber. And so for folks who might want to know more, of course, you can follow the Chamber in the Washington Informer, but also go directly to the website, which is right there for you to see, dcchamber.org. Join. And, we want to be able to say that we help to bring on some new members for you, Chinyere, because you got a lot of work ahead.
Yes, we do. These are challenging times, but we know we will make it to the other side. And thank you so much, Denise, and your partnership. And we value the Washington Informer. Congratulations on 60 years.
Yes.
So we are thrilled to continue and sustain our partnership. So thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you. And have a wonderful weekend. We'll have you back. You know that.
I would love to. Thank you. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, one of the things that for small businesses, and I just want to throw this in before we move on to Upward Bound, but we need to. I think the chamber, I would say the Greater Washington Black Chamber. If you're in Prince George's, the Prince George's Chamber. If you're in Northern Virginia, that chamber. You need to be a part of those organizations. I know it's tough, even for myself sometimes, to really get out and talk to chamber, to fellow business owners. But that's what's going to keep us, I think, help to continue to sustain us. And that is our ability to work together, to support each other, and, to grow and provide opportunities, particularly job opportunities. Because I don't know if Chinyere didn't mention it, but we'll talk about that. But it's small businesses, it's local businesses that are the drivers of jobs in this community. So, I mean, that's enough of that, but I just wanted to share that with you. I am really pleased now to bring on our next guest, Dr. Darrell Thornton. He's the director of Upward Bound CREO at the George Washington University. Dr. Thornton, welcome to Let's Talk.
Thank you so much for having me. And before we move on, I am not doctor yet. I am 1 year into my program. So I want to make sure I save the sanctity of that position when it becomes available. But, thank you so much for having me. I really do appreciate it.
The joke here is, my email address starts with DR. And so everybody thinks I'm Dr. Barnes, and I'm like you. Full disclosure, I'm not.
Yes.
But you're closer than I am, so congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So what is Upward Bound? I mean, I know I don't want to start off like what is it, but I think we do need to start there, because a lot of people, know about Upward Bound, but a lot of people don't, and that's why we have you on the show today to talk about Upward Bound program and how you support young people.
Yes. Thank you again for having me. So in a real quick synopsis, Upward Bound is a pre-collegiate program that's designed to give access and resources to high school students who are considered, who will be considered first generational college students who may have an academic need or may not have the resources or knowledge about post-secondary education, and students that come from low-income servant families. So that's pretty much what our program does. And it starts, the students can join the program their 9th grade year and go all the way up until they graduate in 12th grade. And so our program prepares students and give them the resources that they need to be prepared for post-secondary education and to get them excited about what it is to be in college. I'm happy to serve as an alum of Upward Bound. So this program is very near and dear to my heart.
Wow. Where'd you go to college?
I went to the great Bethune-Cookman University. I'm a 2000 graduate. Yes.
Wonderful. And are you from the area?
I am not. So I am a what they call a DC transplant. I am born and raised in Lakeland, Florida.
Okay. So as a Upward Bound student, what grade were you in when you learned about Upward Bound?
When I learned about Upward Bound, I was in the 8th grade. So it was my 8th grade. I had completed my 8th grade year, and I was able to begin my 9th grade, going into my 9th grade year that summer.
And how did you learn about Upward Bound? Did they come to the school, or was it your parents? What was that connection?
So I did not learn about it through my school because I went to what they call a charter school for the smart people, I guess. But I learned about it through my community. A lady named Miss Annie Fowles, I hope she's watching, that went to my church, that was a Upward Bound instructor at the time, and informed me and my cousin about the program. And so we began to get very inquisitive because we knew we wanted to go to college. And so we got involved with that program then. And I stayed in that program all the way up until I graduated.
So are you a first generation college student?
Yes, I am.
Okay. All right. And your cousin, how did he do?
He's also was a first generation college student, and he completed as well.
Fantastic. And I'm asking that question because, I want folks who are watching, adults, especially, to understand how students learn about these opportunities. And here you had a truckster who was also a church member who who informed you about Upward Bound. How does it work in DC?
Can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah, how does that work in DC? How are you all? I mean, I know we're having you on the show today, so that's a good thing. But ordinarily, how do people learn about Upward Bound?
Really through word of mouth, but however, our program does reach out to the community. So with us being a federally funded grant, we are partnered with 4 target schools here in DC, which would be Dunbar, Anacostia, Eastern, and McKinley Tech. And so Upward Bound has been at GW since 1999, which a lot of people do not know. And so through those partnerships and through those longevity of being there, the word gets out about Upward Bound, the different things that we do. I try to make sure that since I've been here, that our students are involved within the community. So we're doing a lot of community-based projects within the city to make sure that the word is out. So the word is getting out through our instructors, through our staff, through our students, through our parents, and just through the reputation that we have throughout DC.
And you mentioned the 4 schools, but can students outside of Upward Bound, I mean, out of those schools, still participate?
Oh, absolutely. So those 4 schools are our target area schools. However, we have students that are coming from Ron Brown Academy, Girls Global, Maya Angelou, Columbia Heights High School. We had some from Benjamin Banneker. We have students from all over, but those 4 schools that I mentioned are our 4 target area schools that we had when the grant was written.
Is there any cost to participate in Upward Bound?
Only cost it is for you to be committed. So there's no cost to anything that we do. Our students, we don't charge them for anything. And we do a lot of extensive learning, educational learning outside of the traditional classroom. So we do travel with our students. We go out of state a lot to make sure they're getting that experience about what college looks like outside of DC. And so we're also looking at the educational piece, but we're also trying to educate the social aspect of the student as well.
It's wonderful. I mean, I'm excited. I would love to. We might end up. You might see us knocking on your door as we decide a story on some of your Upward Bound students. What are some of the successes? Talk about that you've had.
Since I've been there, so I came on board in June of 23. And since I've been there, we last year we had a student that actually was a posse recipient, and he's currently now at that school. And so this year we had 2 more posse students, recipients as well. However, they really wanted to go to the school of their choice. And so I'm really happy about the decision that they made for them. And I think one of the things that our staff currently is ranting and raving about is that we encounter every aspect of a student. So we have everything from the students that are very passionate, they know they want to go to college, to those that don't know what they want to do. And so this year, one of our students that has really made us work for our money that we do get was accepted, has committed, and is going to college. And I think that's one of the greatest success stories of any educator, is seeing those students who persevere to get to the ultimate goal. And that is to do better for themselves and make decisions that is going to be impactful into the community. So those are one of the greatest accomplishments that I can say that happens, that when we see students go to the next level.
I commend you on that, because a lot of us that are in the community know or run across young people who put limitations on themselves. They because they don't think they can, they don't try, and maybe not getting enough encouragement.
Right.
I know there's some that they're being encouraged, but maybe not enough. And to see the successes, to see that can happen, So, I know that I could see on your face how proud you were of that. So these students that go off to school, I mean, are you helping them to get scholarships? How do they pay for this college education?
That is a great question. So one thing that we do is that we empower our students about scholarships. So every week, our students are getting a newsletter from our program targeting different scholarships that they need to apply for. And that's one thing about being in Upward Bound and being in a school-based program is that we partner with a lot of departments within GW. And so admissions has been a great partnership to have, and in financial aid, because admissions helps us educate our students about how it looks like getting accepted into college, the different target areas that schools are looking at on, grading you to accept you into college. But then also we bring financial aid in to talk about that financial aid literacy piece and that scholarship piece as well. And so we're making sure that they understand how to apply for scholarships, what those scholarships are, and getting students to apply. And when we say getting them to apply, we're looking over their shoulders like, hey, you need to apply. And so one thing that we're getting ready to do coming up this next school year, we're revamping a little bit, is that we're going to break out into different tribes. And so I'm going to be the person that's going to be over our seniors. And we're going to do a whole senior boot camp starting in August, because by March, I want all of our seniors to be accepted into college, have that financial aid money, have those scholarship money in place so they're prepared to go. Because we know that if you get ready, if you stay ready, you don't have to worry about getting ready. And so that's one thing I try to make sure I echo to my students.
So we're going to make a date, Darrell. We're going to have you back on, if not before then, definitely at that time.
Yes.
We're going to put a note down that we want you back on then with those students,
Yes.
a few of them, that and to see if you, because that's an amazing goal.
Yes.
And like you said, they're going to make you work for the money that
Yeah.
you're. So that's fantastic. But we want to have you all back on so we can talk about
Please.
that road
Please.
the students took.
Yes.
Yeah. So, in closing, is there anything, if you got that moment in the sun, can you give us that like 30-second pitch that says why students should apply and become a part of Upward Bound?
I think that families need to really consider Upward Bound, especially first generation college students, because this program opens up a whole new world to your student, giving them the opportunities that they probably would not have inside the school system, and giving them the opportunity to understand exactly what college is about. So in our program, our students are able to not only come to a college campus, but interact in that college campus with different departments, such as our engineering department, our media department, our financial aid department, and our medical department. And our students are able to stay on campus during the summer. Now, this summer, we won't be on campus. We do it every other summer, but they get that experience of staying on campus, staying inside the residential halls, eating inside the cafeteria, going to the school gym. So they're getting encompassed what the college life is about. And this program, I guarantee you, will be success. I am a proud billboard of what TRIO does. That TRIO works. That's our slogan, that TRIO works. I am a walking billboard. My associate director, Ms. Gabrielle Mitchell, who I cannot be on here and not mention, who works tirelessly and does an amazing job, is also an Upward Bound alum. And so you have people that are working in these programs that understand the struggle, that were on the other side of the table, and that are here for the students and to make sure they get to the next level. So if you're scared, a lot of parents are scared about them joining the program because we do a lot of extensive traveling. Don't worry about that. You want your student to gain the knowledge that they need to be successful and productive citizens in this world today. So give Upward Bound a chance.
All right. I appreciate that. And I think it's a great message. And you're right about parents who sometimes are afraid to, let go. But I am, Maria Hayes says, look at my baby. She's so proud of you.
That's my mama.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that she's here because, she has a testimony and I think she's very, very proud, as she said. So I want to thank you for being with us today. Again,
Thank you for having me.
Before, but I definitely want to have you back on in April when we look at those college graduates with those seniors that you're working with.
Yes, and we want to invite you guys out to our summer showcase at the end of our summer program this year, so you guys can actually see exactly the work that is going into the program during the summer as well, because our summer program is getting ready to start up on June 23rd. Okay. So please, I will definitely be in touch with you guys to come out and be a part of it.
We are there. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Have a great day.
All right, you too.
All righty. So speaking of young people, I mean, in this show, I'm really excited about it because next I'm happy to bring on our next guest, Desmond Barnes and Darrell Simpson, co-owners of Heart of the City Candles. But before that, we want to watch a brief video.
8th Street has seen a lot of transformation, and so it's nice to see faces that look like myself still being active in the community.
Thank you everybody for coming out to the Heart of the City Championship Fight Night. Whoever looked at this AutoZone and thought something like this would be going on, you know what I'm saying? Probably nobody.
But this is amazing. I'm so proud of Desmond and Darrell, what they put together here. I am excited because there's so many parents here, so many young folks here. This is what it takes to make a community. And so, you know, I just gave 2 awards away to 2 young girl boxers. And so they are my inspiration.
So this was an incredible night. I mean, we had 19 bouts, evenly matched, competitive. Teaching our youth, win or lose, they're still champions.
My coaches was yelling at me. I thought I wouldn't win, but I was taking my time and being calm. I remember saying yesterday in my head, I would come out with that triple jab, but I only landed some clean shots, not fast shots.
We must invest in our youth because the youth is the future. And when you have these young boys, young girls out there battling all, it builds character, it builds strength, it builds confidence, but it makes sure that they're doing something positive.
So we're excited to be bringing boxing to DC here and having local events for our local community. Now, the most important is our kids have an opportunity to fight, to get off the streets, and it really be in an environment where they can be positive and we can focus on their skills and their talent.
You know, 8th Street has seen a lot of transformation, and so it's nice to see faces that look like myself still being active in the community.
All right, Desmond Barnes and Darrell Sampson, Heart of the City Candles. Welcome to Let's Talk.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, we're doing great.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Yeah, I am really excited about what you guys, I kept saying it. I'm so excited, but it was an exciting event. And everybody was excited from the boxers to the parents to discombobulating Jones, the MC what do you call him, the announcer, to everybody, even the vendors outside were excited. So talk to us a little bit about, you know, how you all came up with this concept.
I think, you know, we got a call to support a gym here in DC, 2 Flat Boxing Gym, who were sending students, their young fighters, off to Las Vegas. They needed help raising the funds to do it. And we thought, hey, why not help you guys organize an event that can help do just that can raise those funds. So I went back to Desmond. I said, hey, we got an idea. And Desmond was on board with it 100%. And
I mean, they froze on us. So we, you know, again, I think these boxers, as we heard earlier, they were from 8 years old to the youngest were 8. The oldest were 30. I thought it was 25, but I heard 30. And there were, I think, 22 rounds, 22 fights, 3 rounds per fight. And a little bit of blood, but not much. But people were really cheered on, and it was a fantastic event. I'm hoping that if we can get them back on, that we will learn a little bit more about where this is going. As I said, this was a fundraiser to get some of these young boxers to Las Vegas for the Junior Olympics. And if we talk to Henry Discombobulating Jones, we will find out that DC has contributed the most to boxing in the nation. I mean, some of the greatest boxers have come out of the District of Columbia. We might even talk to her at some point. You know, Cora Masters Berry was a former boxing commissioner. We've had others. It's been a sport that included not only young boys, but young girls, women. And I'm trying to think of her name that we've done stories on before. A woman boxing promoter in the DMV. It'll come to me in a little bit. So, you know, it's a sport. Some don't like boxing. I grew up liking boxing. I can't help it. I told them when I was a kid, I used to wake up every Saturday morning eating my whatever, cornflakes or something, and watching boxing matches. It was just a fun sport for me. So I tried to kind of keep talking until we could get them back, and I think we've gotten them back.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
That's all right. You know, we talked a little bit about the age of the kids that participated, and just the whole history of boxing in DC. I mean, you all just met with someone today. So let me go back though. You've done this event. Was it successful? Do you feel it was a successful event?
I feel like the event was extremely successful. Even talking to a lot of people in the boxing community, they're really excited about the success of the event, and a lot of people are looking forward to see what's next. Even though this is our intro into boxing events, and that wasn't necessarily our goal. Our main goal is to activate H Street, and bring opportunity and revenue to H Street. So when we were provided with the opportunity to, really do something to that AutoZone building, that was our main goal. But after what we've done and accomplished, opportunities are just coming.
That's great. And yeah, we have to sort of reflect on that a little bit, because the AutoZone is an empty building now, right?
Yes.
And so, it was a great venue to have that event. You didn't have to move anything out because it was all gone.
Right. We just had to move things around and clean it up,
Yeah. And so even H Street. Who were
the sponsors?
I think we were happy to have a lot of cool sponsors like the H Street Main Street and Anwar Salim, Howard University Hospital, the Washington Informers Charities, National Orthodontics Dentistry, and who came on as a sponsor. We had their logo on the back of all the chairs with a QR code. And the cool part about that is anyone who scanned the code will receive any dental service for only $100.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So our goal was to make sure that we have value. Jock Patterson, also the president of the Board of Education, he sponsored SOS Insurance, who came in as our highest level sponsor. And a lot of other community partners like C's Consultants, Build Out City DC. We were just blessed to be able to build a coalition of people to support this goal of getting our kids off to Las Vegas. So I was excited.
So when do they go? No, that's fantastic that you got so much support. When do they leave for Las Vegas? Do you know?
They leave June 14th.
Okay.
So it's just in a few days.
Right. How many participants did you all have in this event?
We had 21 sanctioned fights.
We had 20 sanctioned bouts. Yep.
Okay.
And so that's about 40 boxers.
Right.
From gyms all across the city, as well as far as from Pennsylvania, New York, and New Jersey, and Delaware.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. That's really great. So what is next?
Well, I think Desmond was talking about the meeting we just left earlier.
Yeah, so we just had a meeting, and we're looking at actually bringing the
Mayor's Invitational Cup.
Yeah, Mayor's Invitational Cup to Washington, D.C.
And the PVA Boxing Association approached us. They said it was tradition. Mayor Berry made it a big thing. Mayor Williams made it a big thing. It stopped somewhere in the early 2000s, but they're looking to bring it back. They said it was it raised a lot of money to send young boxers to the Junior Olympics or to compete in national tournaments. and supported scholarships for them to attend college and other cool activities. So that kind of feeds back into our brand at Heart of the City Candles,
Yeah. The other thing with bringing that event here is that it also brings, money to our economy as well, because people will be in hotels and, at the restaurants around the venue. And that's what we're just trying to continue to do, is just build our own, our own local economy.
I think you all have a vision, that's much larger than the candle. I mean, it's like the candle. Let me put it that way. It's just like the candle, because it's lighting up, the community is putting a light on these young people, everything. Yeah. So, I mean, and we haven't talked about Heart of the City Candles. I know we have talked about the company before, but how's the candle business doing?
The candle business is doing amazing. We're still in all the Yes Organic markets in the city. We're still with the MedStar hospitals, and we're still working with the Commanders on, new activations. Excited about that season as well, and things that we'll be doing with them. And, there's so many things ahead with the candles in terms of collaborations. As we get our name out there, sorry, we're outside. There's some of the elements in the background, but as we continue to promote ourselves and our brand, a lot of opportunities are coming to us with, other people wanting to collaborate.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So, this is very exciting. I'm so proud of you two and what you're bringing to the city, and sort of promoting a sport that people don't always think about, but DC happens to be number one, I believe, in boxing. So, it's good to bring it back. I mentioned earlier that Cora Masters Berry, Mayor Berry's widow, was a boxing commissioner here for many years, and so she may be excited to hear about that as well.
Oh yeah.
So, go ahead, Darrell. I'm sorry.
No, I was saying no. I agree. I think that we should really call Miss Berry and see if she can be involved in our Mayor's Invitational Cup. We would love that.
Let me ask you, how can people be supportive of what you all are doing? Either by getting the candles or just supporting any events. How can they reach out to you?
One of the things we talk about a lot is the fact that small businesses, in order to be successful, you need to a lot of times invest heavily into marketing. And what we found is that we've been doing this without spending really much of anything in the marketing. Instead of doing that, we've translated our dollars into social impact projects that in turn allow people to kind of pay us back by buying our candle, or show or show their support by buying our candle. We've seen that kind of service-based model to our company drive our margins.
That's amazing. That's there's lessons learned, and I know that you all go to schools. You've taught candle making in senior citizen buildings. You donated to schools as a result of some of the sales of your candles. You all are doing real community work. So I'm proud of you.
Thank you. We couldn't have done it. We couldn't have done it without the help of the Washington Informer. So.
Well, y'all are doing it. You all are doing it, and getting a lot of support. Even as we saw earlier, Vincent Orange Jr. With Howard University Hospital, and I'm just I'm just thinking of things. But the fact that you had the family service, Howard University Family Services, that actually did neurological testing on some of those kids. I understand, the boxers, just to make sure that they were okay.
Absolutely. Howard came on as our official healthcare provider for the event. We were very grateful that they were able to provide physical exams for every fighter. They conducted the fighter weigh-ins. They also, like you said, provided neurological exams. And then after and before every fight, there must be a pre and post-fight medical exam, and they conducted those as well. They were very hands-on. They were very great with each of the boxers, and I think that moving forward, we're looking to work a deal out between PVA and Howard University so that relationship can continue for them.
Wow, amazing! You all work from the heart. You again shine that light on everybody that's participating. So, I want to thank you. I want to thank the folks that are actually shouting you all out as well. D. Smith says, when your purpose is pure, the opportunities flow. And so people are congratulating you on with the work that you're doing. James Wright, Gene Thomas is talking about congratulations and the work that's necessary. And Maria Hayes, folks, and Maria's in Florida.
Thank you, Maria.
Thanks.
Miss Hayes is in Florida, so I'm glad that she's watching, and so many others. So I just want you all to keep up the great work. Know that you can always depend on Washington Informer and Let's Talk to support what you're doing. And again, if there's, let us know what's coming up next so we can inform the community and we can have folks in the seats celebrating our young people.
That's right. Absolutely.
All righty. Have a good one.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Bye-bye. So, wow, that was great. As you never know. And these are more of the stories for those of you all that are watching that we like to share here. Let's Talk. Because so many people think that our young folks are just not doing the right thing, or, we've heard about the kids that are, now there's this curfew. They can't go down to the, because they're acting wild and crazy, but they can't go down to they can't go to National Harbor. They can't go down to the wharf. They can't go to Gallery Place. They can't go to Navy Yard after 5 o'clock. They'll get arrested. The parents will get fined, but we say, as I heard one of the candidates in the Ward 8 race say, which is true, DC is full of opportunities. And all we have to do is to get our young people involved in these opportunities, and the sky is the limit. So, speaking to another person who probably had an opportunity, I believe he did as a young person, and the sky is the limit, is Charlton Singleton, who is joining us. He is the front man of the Gullah Roots gospel, jazz, fun, R&B music group, Ranky Tanky. Let's watch this video.
The day Mrs. Parks gave the spark of resistance, a gift that the world had been waiting for. She said enough, not with words, but with action. Courage born in the heart.
Charlton, I got it right. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you for having me on this wonderful show. And I've been sitting here listening to all of the great things that everybody's been doing. So I just really appreciate you having me on.
No, we got the word that you are doing an event over at the O Street Museum and Mansion.
Yes.
This weekend. And so we didn't have time to say, well, we'll talk to him at a later date. No, we had to talk to you today.
Right. Yeah. Well, it came up really quick. H. Leonard's and her husband, Ted, have that amazing space over there. And we were over there. The band was playing in DC a couple of months back, and she invited me to come up on my anniversary week. She invited me to come up, and she said, "Oh, by the way, we're doing this gospel event. Would you like to present?" And I said, "Sure, absolutely." And so we're just very honored to have been a part of that project that she and the great songwriter Paul Williams and Mark Bryan from Hootie and the Blowfish did in honoring Rosa Parks, which is it was an amazing experience for us all.
Yeah, so tell us, briefly, if you can, and quickly, what is happening over at the museum this weekend?
So they've started a monthly sort of series where it's all around gospel. It's the first Sunday of the month, and they've had I think about 3, maybe 4 of them before, and they've had people to come on and speak. And I think this is going to be the first one where I'm actually going to be playing a little bit in addition to talking, but it's a wonderful event. You can see it online. And like I said, it was just kind of happenstance on how I fell into it, but talking with H and Ted and Reverend Love, who is going to be moderating it, it just seemed like a tremendous opportunity. And I was like just thrilled that they asked me to be a part of it.
And why you, Charlton? Why? I mean, I know this is on Rosa Parks. I know there's the gospel part. I mean, your I don't know, genre, I guess, has been sort of Gullah music, I guess. Tell us a little
Correct.
about your genre of music.
So Gullah, basically, there's the Gullah Geechee Corridor, which is a bunch of islands that stretch from sort of the Wilmington, North Carolina area down the coast of South Carolina and Georgia into the top of Florida around St. Augustine. And on those islands, many, many years ago, this dates way back to, you can go back to the 1700s. On these islands, they had basically former Western enslaved people. And those islands for many years were not connected by bridge. You had to, take a boat to get over them. But these Western Africans were able to maintain the way that they did arts and crafts, how they prepared food, how they entertained each other, how they worship, music, arts and crafts, all of these different things. Now, what my band does is being that 4 out of the 5 of us are descendants of the Gullah community, we do more contemporary interpretations of Gullah music and sounds and songs. And then we like to educate folks. Some of the most famous Gullah things out there people have come into contact with, but they probably don't know what it is. Like, for example, the most famous Gullah song on the face of the earth is Kumbaya. Or if you've played this game and you're clapping on beats 2 and 4, that's a Gullah game. Shrimp and grits is a Gullah dish. Sweetgrass baskets. All of those things are uniquely Gullah, which basically goes back to Western African. And so our music reflects that Gullah sound. And being in the regional roots category, that basically means that regional, it's privy to one area. Roots music, meaning that it's born kind of there. I always give an example of DC, because you're not going to hear go-go a whole lot of other places, right?
Unfortunately, you're right.
Right. And so, or even if you talk about music in New Orleans, like Zydeco, that sound, right, or Hawaiian music or Native American music and stuff like that. Gullah has a sound. Now, it just so happens that Gullah also kind of informs a lot of other popular music, like jazz and blues and R&B, country music, bluegrass, all of that stuff. Really, you can find Gullah in all of that. It's not the other way around, which a lot of people think.
Wow. It's I mean, I told you I did have an opportunity to do a Gullah tour. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was fascinating, again, that when the enslavers, brought the Africans over and put them on those islands because of mosquitoes and other things, they were just left there. But to produce rice and other things and were able to maintain their culture because they were kind of left alone. Right. So, there's a good and a bad part to that story. But your group is called Ranky Tanky?
Correct.
Where does that
Ranky Tanky is actually it's a kid's game, okay, one of those games, and the loose translation of Ranky Tanky means to work it or get funky with it. So if, like, the words of that game are: old lady come from Booster, had 2 hens and a rooster. The rooster died, the old lady cried. Now she don't eat eggs like she used to. Pain in my head, Ranky Tanky, shake it out. Pain in my hands, Ranky Tanky, shake it out. Pain in my feet, Ranky Tanky, pain all over me. Those are the words. Now let's make that into the kids' game. Old lady come from Booster, had 2 hens and a rooster. The rooster died, the old lady cried, now she don't. Now, can't you see some little girls playing that or some little kids playing that game?
I'm almost thinking that I did, but yeah.
Yeah. And so what we would do with a game like that is we would have our bass player that would play a specific groove. We would establish a key. We would put the Gullah rhythm. There is a specific Gullah rhythm behind that. And now, all of a sudden, it's transformed from this little kid's game that really doesn't have a musical tonality to now it's got a certain flavor to it that is both contemporary, but at the same time pays homage to the Gullah community with that rhythm.
Wow, I love that story. I love that, and it makes a lot of sense, and it shows how music evolves. And Charlton, you're opening up our conversation for Black Music Month, which starts on Sunday.
Correct.
So the part of what we aim to do when we talk about Black Music Month is the origins of our music, because we need to be proud of what we've been able to contribute to music around the world.
Yeah, I mean, think about this. You've got Gullah and this southeastern sort of flavor to it and sound. You have a lot of songs from the Gullah community that have crossed over into other genres of music. There was a movie that came out some years ago called "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" And it won all of these awards and everything. And there's a famous song in that movie called "Oh Death," and everybody raved about that song. That's a Gullah song.
Okay.
You've got songs like "You Gotta Move" that the Rolling Stones recorded. That's a Gullah song. You've got other bands that have already come and just re-recorded all of these things from the Gullah community. They might have put their own little flavor on it, but make no mistake, and let's not get it twisted, it's all Gullah. And so when you have people that are up in arms about, our sister Beyonce and country music and everything, once again, let's not get it twisted. All of that's origin is from the Gullah community, which goes back to Western African.
Yes.
So that's just a fact. It's a fact.
So you study clearly, but you've been in this industry since the age of 3, and I want folks to know you are a 2-time Grammy Award-winning trumpeter, vocalist, composer, and arranger. And so, first of all, did you come from? It sounds like everybody.
Not necessarily. I think just growing up in church. My father is a retired now AME minister. Being in church was a big part of our family, on both sides of the family. My grandfather was a leader in the church, a leader in our community. And so I was just introduced to the piano by way of my older sister and brother at an early age, and it just sort of stuck. And my parents, luckily for me, I have the parents that were like, we're going to put our children or give our children as many opportunities as they can. And so it just stuck with me, and learned how to play the piano. Then the violin came along, then the cello came along, then the trumpet came along. And then eventually I started singing, and I went to college at South Carolina State University and started learning how to write and arrange and things like that. And it just snowballed.
Wow. So where are you based?
Out of Charleston, out of that area. I'm from Allendale, South Carolina, which is about 14 miles going north of Charleston, right on the coast. I mean, you could stand on the back road in my neighborhood and you can look out and see some of those Gullah Islands. I mean, so here's another thing. Everybody's probably heard of Hilton Head Island.
Of course.
Everybody's probably heard of places like Keogh Island or Seabrook Island or Jekyll Island, or some of these islands that have these $1 million homes and things.
Correct.
Don't get it twisted. Them boy from Gullah. That's Gullah stuff right there.
Oh,
Don't get it twisted.
And if you go down there and pay more attention to the history and the culture than just what's in front of you, you really learn.
Oh yes.
Oh yes. Just our place and space in that.
Oh yeah. Area. Like I talk about, there's an island called Defusky Island.
That's where we went.
You went to Defusky.
We went to Defusky, yeah.
So half of Defusky Island is in its natural state.
Right.
No electricity, dirt roads, all of that. If you want to have some electricity, you need a generator.
Right.
The other half, multi-million-dollar homes, golf course, all of that stuff. That's Defusky Island.
Yeah.
I usually use that, and I use it. I don't know if it's accurate, but I use it as a play on words. If you think about Defusky Island, Defusky Island, Defusky Island, Defusky Island.
I got it. I got it. Took a couple times, but I got it. Yeah. We got it. We're all like, oh.
Yeah. And generally when we're out in concerts and we talk about, the gala, we have a lot of those moments.
Yeah.
I think we were in the Midwest and this lady came up to me and she said after the concert, older lady, probably in her mid to late 80s or so. And she said, that reminded me of a song I heard at 4-H camp when I was a little kid. And I said, it's probably one of those gullah songs that eventually went into the folk community and just got to you. But once again, make no mistake, it's gullah. Definitely.
Okay. All right. Well, Thornton, I want to thank you so much. So so how often do you perform in DC? I know that you're going to be there Sunday. That's at 2:00 at O Street. We've got it there. And that's 20th and O. I think it's 20th and O. Yeah. Where folks can go. But how often are you here?
Not a whole lot. The band Ranky Tanky, we've played there maybe 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
We played actually at the Library of Congress in that museum or that auditorium that they have in there. We've played there a couple of times. And a few spots in the area.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always good to come to DC. I have I have good family in the Baltimore area. My sister went to Howard. My brother went to Morgan.
Right.
So it's like a second
well
home.
Represented in the HBCU family.
Absolutely. My dad went to Tuskegee. My mom went to South Carolina State. Yeah, we're all representing like that. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you so much for, taking some time to spend with us today. We certainly want to know, if we don't make it Sunday, but when you're back in the area, we certainly would like to, support.
Thank you so much.
Oh, Sherry said, yeah, we have a little studio downstairs. So we'd love for you to come by and check out our little space. And,
that'd be great. Yeah.
Maybe we could bring some folks in and, just have us a gullah celebration, right?
All right, absolutely.
It's a lot of folks from the Gullah Islands that are here in DC. So, All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. Safe travels, and
thank you so much.
Wish you more success.
Thank you so much.
All righty. Take care.
Right. Take care.
So that brings us, we ran over, but that's what we do sometimes, but we ran over. I hope that you enjoyed the program. I hope that you share it. This will be on YouTube, so you can always go back to it, or if there's a segment of it that you want to check out, you can look at that segment. Again, go to Washington Informer TV on YouTube. Share this broadcast with your friends and relations. I want to thank Chinyere Hubbard of the DC Chamber of Commerce and Darrell Thornton of Upward Bound, Desmond Barnes and Darrell Simpson of Heart of the City Candles, and Charlton Singleton, renowned Gullah musician, Ranky Tanky. So special thanks also to DeMarco Rush, our videographer, to Sherry Lassiter, our producer, and what's your name? Jamon Jackson, our co-producer, and especially to you all for watching this segment of Let's Talk. We want to see you here next week, same time, same place, 12 o'clock. Take care. Have a great weekend.